he's also making sure that freedom of speech remains here in the United States of America. So I don't have any additional actions to preview for you today, but I can tell you this is a priority for the administration, and the president is unafraid to use the economic might.
Censorship. You know who wrote that? FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, who later was appointed chairman of the FCC by this former crusader for free speech.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country.
Trump's reaction meter suddenly shot past the danger zone and slammed straight into volcanic territory. All of this happened because Jimmy Kimmel decided to drop a perfectly timed comedic truth bomb right in the middle of Karoline Leavitt's big spotlight moment. What followed was not just an ordinary meltdown or a brief flash of irritation. Instead, it escalated into a full-scale eruption, complete with flying sparks, thick clouds of smoke, and enough dramatic energy to keep late-night television buzzing for weeks on end. Today, we are breaking down the entire chain reaction, from the jokes and the outrage to the online frenzy that erupted immediately afterward. So buckle up and get comfortable, because this situation escalated faster than anyone could have reasonably expected.
India and Pakistan, Serbia and Kosovo, and Egypt and Ethiopia. This means President Trump has brokered, on average, about one peace deal or ceasefire per month during his 6 months in office. It's well past time that President Trump was awarded the Nobel.
The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 to Maria Corina Machado.
Nonsense.
The second Jimmy Kimmel launched into the night's chaos, the studio practically felt like it tilted under the sheer weight of his sarcasm. This was not soft or polite sarcasm either. This was the kind that stomps and wearing heavy boots, flips through the ceiling for dramatic effect, and demands its own theme music upon arrival. He wasted absolutely no time diving headfirst into the dramatic world of Trump and Karoline Leavitt, two figures who seem to operate on their own unique frequency, fueled by non-stop political turbulence and completely unfiltered theatrics that never, ever come with an off switch.
You almost have to feel sorry for him. He did his best to cancel me. Instead, he forced millions of people to watch the show. That backfired bigly. He might have to release the Epstein files to distract us from this now. Now, a lot of people have been asking me if there are conditions for my return to the air, and there is one. Disney has asked me to read the following statement, and I've agreed to do it. Here we go.
Hold on for just a moment, because if you are enjoying this video, now is the perfect time to make it official. Hit that subscribe button and stick around for more content like this, because the best moments are still ahead. Now, jumping right back in within Kimmel's retelling of events, Trump reacts to criticism as though reality itself has personally turned against him. There are dramatic gasps, imaginary spotlights swinging into place, and invisible orchestras swelling with tragic background music. In Kimmel's mind, the entire performance rises to dramatic heights that feel almost Shakespearean in scale.
Not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this. The President of the United States made it very clear he wants to see me and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs. Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke.
Kimmel he was fired, he had no talent, but he had no ratings.
Well,
but the real comedic gold appeared when Kimmel shifted the spotlight toward Karoline Leavitt, the self-appointed commander of Trump praise operations, a role she seems to approach with the seriousness of someone guarding a priceless historical artifact. An artifact that, unfortunately, has a habit of malfunctioning at completely random moments, much like a fog machine that suddenly loses control and fills the entire room without warning.
3 months, I'm starting to get the feeling the moon's worried about us. Like, you guys okay down there? You know, I was at Dry Bar this morning, getting a blowout. We have a party after the show. And I learned that, according to Google, for the year 2025, I was the 3rd most trending person in the world. I'm not Not sure if it's an honor, because number one was a singer named David who spells his name.
The chaos picked up even more momentum when Kimmel exaggerated her enthusiasm to nearly superhuman levels, making it seem as if she starts every morning with a ceremonial pledge to defend each and every one of Trump's spirals, no matter how strange or unpredictable they become. According to Kimmel's comedic universe, it does not matter how chaotic or how gravity-defying the moment might be, because she does not simply support him. She charges into action like a superhero whose only special ability is delivering verbal loyalty at maximum volume. The jokes came flying fast and fierce. Kimmel imagined Leavitt standing proudly beside Trump, metaphorically waving flags, firing confetti cannons, and possibly even performing interpretive dance routines to express her unwavering devotion. He painted her as the kind of person who would clap enthusiastically even when Trump stumbled over his own argument. In Kimmel's retelling, every outburst, every claim, and every spiral became a groundbreaking revelation that simply had to be celebrated.
But he's the only leader in the world that can help end it. And that's why even as we speak to you now, on deregulation, HHS proudly is now leading the pack.
I mean, if you could sleep through that voice, you are tired. You are fatigued. Tell us again how sleepy Joe is, will you? Of course he's tired. He was up all...
Meanwhile, Trump, as portrayed through Kimmel's exaggerated lens, strutted confidently around his imaginary stage of self-belief, soaking in Leavitt's enthusiastic devotion, the way a spotlight feeds on electricity. Each time he delivered another dramatic proclamation, Leavitt appeared in Kimmel's imagination like a one-woman cheering section, ready to hype up even the most confusing nonsense with the intensity of someone defending a championship title. Kimmel's pacing seemed to defy the laws of physics as Leavitt jumped into the moment to reassure him that somehow the cloud was clearly at fault. Then Trump, never one to resist theatrics, pushed his imaginary reactions even further. Leavitt responded by cranking her praise to levels that modern science has likely never studied, treating each bizarre twist as a historic event worthy of a full parade.
And casino. They put his name on the building, and he let it remain. A White House spokesperson defended this renaming, claiming the organization was once a bloated, useless entity that blew $50 million per year while delivering no peace. So they named it after another bloated, useless entity that delivered no peace. Trump, of course, visited his new building this morning to take credit for his work.
The transitions came fast and hit hard, creating pure comedic whiplash. Kimmel bounced effortlessly from Trump's grand imaginary soaking to Leavitt's dramatic displays of loyalty with the energy of someone who had not blinked since 2017. He described her devotion not as simple support, but as a full-blown hobby, similar to how some people collect rare coins or dedicate their lives to birdwatching. At one point, Kimmel's satire painted a picture of Leavitt reacting to Trump's self-praise with the enthusiasm of a motivational speaker at a conference called Believe Harder. Every outlandish claim became a rallying cry, and every chaotic moment turned into a treasured opportunity to leap into action with loud, passionate cheers. In Kimmel's version of events, Leavitt stood guard over Trump's narratives like a knight sworn to defend even the most confusing castle. As the satire stacked higher, the laughter grew louder. Trump's energy became more theatrical, fueled by Leavitt's constant reinforcement, transforming the entire situation into a political carnival that simply refused to leave town.
When he wasn't sleeping, Rip Van Winkle was lying. He said grocery prices are down. They're not down. He said he's cutting prescription drug prices 900%. That's ridiculous. In the brief time he was conscious, though, he had a lot to say.
The Lincoln bathroom is now gorgeous. I took my physical. I got all A's, everything. I should get the Nobel Prize for every war, but I don't want to be greedy. Ilhan Omar is garbage. Boot edge. and it's supposed to be.
Trump marched confidently from one imaginary pedestal to another, while Leavitt followed closely behind with metaphorical ribbons, banners, and a level of excitement usually reserved for championship victories. Kimmel's over-the-top storytelling made their dynamic feel like an exaggerated performance in which Trump delivered dramatic monologues and Leavitt supplied the emotional fireworks. Together, in his retold universe, they created an endless loop of self-congratulation and defensive gymnastics, with Leavitt pouring out energetic devotion while Trump absorbed it like a sun lamp. Trump spiraled into melodramatic disbelief, as if even oxygen molecules had personally betrayed him. Everything felt inflated, theatrical, and drenched in the kind of satire that only Kimmel's imagination could sustain.
I want to thank the two courageous leaders. They are courageous leaders. They really are courageous leaders, great people. President Tshisekedi.
Perfect. Could we hear that again?
Tshisekedi.
Now, the president's name is Tshisekedi, President Tshisekedi. From the Congo, they call it.
Trump once again marched from imaginary pedestal to imaginary pedestal, and Leavitt stayed right behind him with symbolic ribbons, banners, and an enthusiasm usually saved for championship celebrations. Through Kimmel's exaggerated storytelling, their dynamic resembled a dramatic performance piece in which Trump handled the long monologues and Leavitt delivered non-stop emotional fireworks. In this retold universe, they fueled a never-ending cycle of self-praise and defensive maneuvers, with Leavitt offering relentless devotion while Trump soaked it up like heat from a sun lamp. Trump spiraled into theatrical disbelief, reacting as if the very air around him had turned against him. Everything was blown up, dramatic, and dripping with satire that only Kimmel could keep alive. Then came the mock praise, thanking the two so-called courageous leaders, repeating the word courageous with exaggerated sincerity and declaring them great people with a straight face that made the joke land even harder.
He said, who has 5 engines on the back of a boat going in weird directions? The land of 1,000 lakes, or however many lakes they have, they got a lot of lakes. Somalians, let's go with the fat drug, FAT, for fat people. They said to me, would you like to take a cognitive test? I said, is it hard?
He's doing great. Don't worry about him at all. And his team, he's got quite a team. His team is crushing it.
Kimmel described Trump pacing across his metaphorical mental stage with the confidence of someone unveiling a brand new invention that nobody requested, yet everyone was somehow forced to watch. With every dramatic gesture, the situation grew more absurd, like watching someone build a sandcastle while insisting it was a towering skyscraper. Through Kimmel's comedic lens, Trump clung tightly to his self-made grandeur with the excitement of a child who has just discovered glitter and refuses to stop using it. And right on cue, Leavitt followed behind, glowing with so much unfiltered admiration that she practically lit up the room. Kimmel portrayed her devotion as a form of renewable energy, joking that if scientists could harness the sheer power of her praise, they could power the entire eastern seaboard. He imagined her racing around to clean up Trump's narrative chaos like a caretaker, trying to tidy a room while someone kept tossing confetti into a spinning fan. In Kimmel's retelling, she functioned as a hype engine, permanently locked at maximum output, determined to make sure Trump's ego never experienced even a second of silence. The audience could almost see it all unfold as Trump stormed across imaginary landscapes, striking dramatic poses as if expecting a movie trailer voice to announce his arrival.
Faked RFK Jr., who is now embroiled in a sex and drug scandal with a reporter nearly 40 years his junior. Our Secretary of War is murdering unidentified civilians and trying to throw the admiral who is following orders under the boat. The director of the FBI is reportedly using a private jet for personal travel with his country music star girlfriend and delayed a murder investigation until somebody brought him a jacket, an FBI jacket that fit his little body. We've got the Attorney General turning the Justice.
Meanwhile, Trump, as portrayed through Kimmel's exaggerated lens, strutted confidently around his imaginary stage of self-belief, soaking in Leavitt's enthusiastic devotion the way a spotlight feeds on electricity. Each time he delivered another dramatic proclamation, Leavitt appeared in Kimmel's imagination like a one-woman cheering section, ready to hype up even the most confusing nonsense with the intensity of someone defending a championship title. Kimmel's pacing seemed to defy the laws of physics as Leavitt jumped into the moment to reassure him that somehow the cloud was clearly at fault. Then Trump, never one to resist theatrics, pushed his imaginary reactions even further. Leavitt responded by cranking her praise to levels that modern science has likely never studied, treating each bizarre twist as a historic event worthy of a full parade.
A very happy Thanksgiving salutation to all of our great American citizens and patriots who've been so nice. All right, that's something. He can be presidential when he wants to be. So nice in allowing our country to be divided, disrupted, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at. Murdered, mugged, beaten, and laughed at. I wonder why he didn't get that Nobel Peace Prize. It makes no sense. I hate to be the one to tell you our country isn't being laughed at. They're laughing at you.
According to Kimmel's comedic vision, Leavitt defended Trump with such fierce determination that even gravity itself seemed willing to step aside out of respect. Kimmel expanded her devotion into an entire narrative arc, imagining her waking up each morning with ceremony, preparing herself for another day of supporting Trump's wildest ideas. She trained for it like an athlete preparing for a championship, warming up her enthusiasm, stretching her loyalty muscles, and practicing her praise reflexes in case Trump launched into another unexpected spiral. Kimmel portrayed her dedication as both impressive and baffling, like someone signing up for a marathon only to realize it never ends and the course changes every 15 minutes. Each new imaginary slight sent Trump into another emotional production, filled with invisible fog machines and dramatic pauses long enough to age cheese. Through it all, Leavitt remained his ever-reliable hype machine, swooping in with enthusiastic spin moves to keep him lifted high on his carefully built pedestal of self-importance.
But then I realized I wouldn't be pardoning them. I would never pardon those two people. I wouldn't pardon them. I wouldn't care what Melania told me. Darling, I think it would be a nice thing to do. I won't do it, darling.
I like when he takes us inside his relationship. Darling, why do you throw up when I open my robe? Why do you do it, darling? Now, most presidents at the turkey pardon keep it light. They make a few bad puns, they wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and they go back to work.
At one point, Kimmel described a fictional moment where Trump attempted to lift the metaphorical weight of criticism that would have crushed anyone else. Instead of struggling, he flashed a dramatic wink at the imaginary audience. Meanwhile, Leavitt rushed forward with cheering so loud that the universe itself briefly considered turning down the volume, treating every small gesture from Trump as a massive accomplishment. Celebrating with the intensity of someone witnessing the invention of teleportation, Kimmel layered the theatrics until the imagined world felt like a full-blown carnival of delusion powered by Trump's ego and Leavitt's unbreakable encouragement. Trump strutted, gestured, and glowed under imaginary spotlights, while Leavitt followed behind with symbolic streamers, confetti storms, and the limitless energy of someone who believes every Trump moment is life-changing. Each display of pretend heroics became yet another excuse for Leavitt to unleash support so grand it could have been spotted from outer space.
Also treated the gathered crowd to a fairy tale about how low the price of food is now since he took office.
Gasoline will soon be hovering around $2 a gallon.
Yeah. Just like your weight is hovering around 175. I mean, the fact we think gas costs $2 a gallon, which it does not. In fact, if you're on the road and you see a sign that says gas $2 a gallon.
The transitions flowed smoothly, like a river made entirely of hyperbole. Kimmel imagined Trump climbing towering mountains of self-importance, while Leavitt held up a symbolic spotlight to ensure every step was seen, celebrated, and preserved for history. Trump reached imaginary peaks of drama, throwing his arms wide as if waiting for a choir to burst into song, while Leavitt cheered as though she had just witnessed a miracle. As the monologue grew more theatrical, Kimmel described their dynamic as the ultimate piece of performance art. Trump acted as the unpredictable force of spectacle, while Leavitt functioned as the endless engine of praise, pushing the drama to massive galaxy-sized proportions. Trump became a myth-like figure of pure drama, and Leavitt, his loyal herald, was dedicated to making sure no moment of Trump-style grandeur ever went unnoticed. Kimmel stretched the satire far past reality, weaving a tapestry of absurdity so vivid it almost vibrated. Still, he kept going, imagining Trump floating on clouds of imaginary applause, while Leavitt cleared the skies ahead for his triumphant metaphorical parade, orchestrating invisible fireworks with the excitement of someone conducting a concert for an audience the size of the universe.
As imaginary prices are now, and out of nowhere took shots at the mayor of Chicago and the governor of Illinois.
The mayor was a low IQ person. The mayor is incompetent, and the governor is a big fat slob.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I mean, seriously, though. He says
the monologue finally swirled into a full crescendo of comedic chaos, a dizzying spectacle where Trump basked in an entire galaxy of imaginary accomplishments. In Kimmel's exaggerated universe, Trump drifted through these victories like someone convinced he had personally upgraded the sun and deserved applause every time daylight appeared. At the same time, Leavitt engineered massive displays of support, constructing symbolic parades, dramatic fanfare, and emotional standing ovations for achievements that existed only within exaggerated theatrics. Trump's self-celebration grew with sporadic intensity, inspiring Leavitt to push her devotion far beyond normal human limits. Each burst of inflated drama fueled her loyalty, and each wave of loyalty expanded Trump's drama even further, forming a never-ending machine of absurdity. By the time Kimmel wrote out the final moments of hyperbole, the studio felt completely transformed. The audience was no longer just laughing. They were recovering from the comedic equivalent of a tornado that spun them through layers of irony, chaos, and cartoon-level exaggeration. It felt as though Kimmel had taken the entire political landscape, dropped it into a kaleidoscope, and spun it until everything blurred into a colorful whirlwind of nonsense, leaving everyone stunned by how the monologue escalated into something so wildly and hilariously overwhelming.